Hello, Mr. Randy here. We're going to kind of finish up the 3D assembly here. And I've started mating some parts together, but there are a couple mates here that I'd like to show you as you finish this up. So as you look at this model, I have mated the two straps together with concentric mates between the holes here and here. And then I have mated the inside edge of the race here concentric to the sheave and done the same on the top one. So I already have concentricity between this and actually this surface here. Those are concentric for both pieces. I did the same up here, concentric from here to this outside feature also. So that the strap, if I were to move this, you can see is the straps are concentric and they're free to spin. I've also mated in the bolts here and got those in place, and the nuts. So I'd like to bring this thing together, and I'd recommend mating it up this way. It's a little easier because then we can bring all this in as a single mate. Works real nice. So one thing to check, move these close together here, is you'll notice if I zoom way up here, remember when we created this part, there is a thin section and a thick section on this inner race of the sheave, or outer race of the sheave. And you've got to make sure when you mate up your straps that they're mated the same way. So notice that both of them have the thinner piece here and the thicker out back. All right, you've got to make sure that those line up that way when you create your concentric mates and put all these parts together. So assuming you've done that right, we're now ready for the final mate. So let's go to the mate tool, and I'm going to grab that face right there, and I'm just going to mate it to this back face on the sheave. And I'm going to take a look at this before I hit OK, and what I want to look at is to make sure that nothing's sticking out. I don't want to see the sheave sticking out one side or the other. Okay, everything should be flush there. It looks really good, so I'm going to hit OK. All right, now I have these shims to mate in, and again, I need to remember that the thin part is to the front and the thick is to the back. So when I look at my shim here, I'd like to see which orientation it's in, and it looks to be in the same orientation, so I'm pretty good there. So I'm going to do a mate now, and I'm going to mate first of all the concentricity here before I align it. So those are concentric, and I'll hit OK. And I'm going to have to tug this out of here so I can see it. And so I'll grab that back face right there, and then I'm going to spin around and grab the back face here. Now you notice it gave me an error because it wants to make them coincident, and there must be a mathematical difference in there that won't allow that. So just make them parallel if you get that error. And that should line it up nice and square. Okay, so there's that shim now all squared up, so we'll hit OK. And finally, this is now just free to move up and down. So we'll take the top surface to the top surface here, or bottom surface there. There we go. Now let's spin around and look at the other shim. Notice that this shim is backwards. When we dropped it in, it came in, and I spun it around a little bit, but it's flipped over. The thick part is to the front, if you will, and the thin part's to the back. Well, we can fix that right in the mate. So I'm going to pick the bolt, and then I'm going to pick the inside diameter there, but I'm going to flip that mate. So right there, I'm going to flip alignment. And if you watch on the screen here, let's get that tugged out because I want to see this happen. When I flip that, it should flip the part over. And if I spin that around now, this gets a little tricky. Come on up out of there. If I look at that now, you can see the thin part is facing the front or the nose, and the thick part's on the back. So this is the flip mate button here, and that still stays concentric, but it flips the part. All right, so then the process is the same. After that, we'll hit the check mark there. I'll take that back surface and mate it to the bolt, or to the back surface of the sheave here. And Obviously I've clicked incorrectly. Let's unselect that. Oh, there we go. I want that surface right there. We're going to make that parallel. That should get that locked in. And then I'll take the top of the shim. Oop, sorry, check. Top of the shim to the bottom of the strap. And we'll hit OK. All right, one more thing I want to show you. This one is done. Notice that if I try to spin these nuts, they don't turn. Same with the head of this bolt. And that's just a visual thing. We'd like to have these things lined up properly so that when I look at exactly at a front view, that I see those in that orientation and not in some random location. This is the way we would want to see it in a 2D drawing. Well, on this side, I haven't done that yet. So I just wanted to show you this last little refinement that we want to make with the model. So I'm going to zoom up here and I'm going to go, I'm still in the mate tool. I'm going to take this face and I'm going to make those parallel. And then I'll take this face and this face parallel. And then this face and this face parallel. And then we'll get out of the mate tool. And now these should kind of be locked in place. They don't spin. And everything will be good. There's one last mate that we'll do actually in the start of the next video. We need to lock down this alignment in order to make the drawing look correct. But we'll show you that in the next video. So there we have the final assembly. Everything mated up together. And we're good to go on to the next step. Enjoy.